I know you gonna dig this.
Get funky with me.
What you doing? Where you at? Up me. I'm right here, you know. So, word. You going out tonight? Yeah, maybe NASA or something. Word? Yeah. You on the list? Probably. That sneaking, you know what I'm saying? I need some female.
That's a typical moment from our next film, Kids. And ever since this film played earlier this year at the Sundance and Cannes film festivals, it's been one of the hottest topics of conversation in the film industry. Kids, directed by Larry Clark, follows a group of young teenagers around Manhattan during one day and night during which their lives are basically devoted to four things: sex, drinking, drugs, and hanging out with their friends. It's a deeply shocking and disturbing film which feels absolutely authentic in its portrait of these kids who have been bankrupted by their backgrounds to the point where they really have no interest at all except immediate turn-ons and distraction. They didn't believe that those were actors and that was dialogue. It has an authenticity to it. Yes, it does. Depressing, grim, difficult, painful authenticity that just kind of blows a lot of other fiction films out of the water.
What's going on, everybody? How you doing today? Welcome to Woodlawn Cemetery here in the Bronx, New York. Wow, this cemetery is huge. It's a Sunday. They're open, and there's a lot going on here. Some tours going through. I'm just going to show you an overview of how big this cemetery is, like in the Bronx, in the middle of the city. And it's so quiet, so peaceful. Finding the grave of Harold Hunter was not easy. Security guard at the front called his manager. His manager came over and helped me. We looked for about half an hour together. And I can't say enough about the people that work here, about the security, how sweet they are, and how great. I was okay to say his name, Omar. Omar, man, thank you so much. I'm hoping he's watching this video. Wow. This took a while. Harold is in the back of the cemetery. You have to write it on the screen. Hillcrest section, 18069, lot 18069. Anyway, we walked around for a while, and I can't thank Omar enough because we were up and down this hill. This hill does not look very steep, but once you get past those trees right there, it's steep. Look around me. All these graves, the mausoleums there. It is insane. You may not know who Harold Hunter is if you watch my channel regularly, but if you clicked on the video because you know Harold Hunter, then you know Harold Hunter. Do you know what I mean? I first became aware of who Harold Hunter is, of course, because of the movie Kids. One of the most controversial, one of the most thought-provoking, one of the most hard-to-look-away movies I've ever seen in my life. I did a video on Justin Pierce, who played Casper in the film. Did that last year. This movie has stuck with me for years, as it has for many people. And Harold Hunter was magnetic in his role. You couldn't take your eyes off him when he's on screen. So good. Same with Justin. Same with Chloe, Rosario, and Leo, who's in the film as well, Leo Fitzpatrick. They're all great. All great. Now, I watched a documentary about 2 weeks ago. Shout out Nerd Locations for helping me find it. Nerd Locations, my buddy Rayan, called We Were Once Kids, a documentary about the making of Kids and about the aftermath. It's very difficult to find this film. Very difficult, this documentary. Now, the movie, directed by Larry Clark, written by Harmony Korine. It's about a day in the life of a bunch of kids in Manhattan in the mid-90s. It is incredible. And this documentary goes into the detail about how it was made and what happened to the cast afterward. And it's not really a pleasant story of what happened afterward at all. Harold's just over here, and it's Hillcrest, Section 80, Lot 18069. That's the best information I'm able to give you. You'll get a map when you come here if you want to find Harold. I don't have a map. The security took me right to where we are now, but they'll give you a map at the office, and it might be easier to find. Look for that giant headstone there, the giant one, Dixon Bennett. And Harold's going to be just off to the left of that. Harold was born here in New York City. He was born 1974. Grew up in a housing project in the East Village. But he loved skateboarding, and he became associated with a skating crew. A lot of action going on down there right now. And he hung out in Thompson Square Park, Washington Square Park. And he got involved with Skate NYC. They're a local skate shop. There's a lot going on here. Wow. He was photographed for Thrasher magazine. He's sponsored by Zoo York. Then he appeared as a character named, guess what? Harold in Kids. He didn't get a lot of work after Kids. Now, what's odd is I thought he would have a lot more credits to his name. He only has about 9. And he's great in Kids. He's so good. Like I said, he steals the show. He really does. He went to Hollywood, I know that. Like a lot of the cast did. Justin Pierce, who I talked about before. Chloë Sevigny, obviously, she's just in the Menendez movie just recently. I mean, he was hanging out with Paris Hilton, supermodels, rock stars. But for whatever reason, he was not cast in many more roles and could never really get ahead. He was against drugs. He was against drinking. Sadly, he kind of turned to drinking and drugs later in his life, which is odd because he was so much against it. When in July 2000, Justin took his life, Justin Pierce, that really impacted Harold Hunter because they were best friends. When he went out to Hollywood, he stayed with Justin. February 17th. It says here February 16th, but I would have read it as February 17th, 2006. He died from a cocaine-induced heart attack. The Lower East Side. There's a foundation in his name. It was founded in his memory to support city kids interested in skateboarding. Here's Harold. Harold Atkins Hunter. Legends never die. April 2nd, 1974. You will never be forgotten. The movie Kids is difficult to watch. It's not overly enjoyable, but it's something you have to watch. It's a snapshot in time. It's the 90s, and it's gritty, it's raw. It's hard to watch at times, for sure. But Harold stood out. Harold stood out for sure. There's a picture of him there. Very, very difficult to find this grave, and that's kind of sad, but there's so many. I mean, look around. There's so many. Rest in peace, Harold. Give you a better view of how to maybe find Harold if you want to visit him. Straight up there. Yeah, Harold. I actually contacted somebody who was in the film Kids and appears in the documentary When We Were Once Kids, just to tell them how much I enjoyed it. I don't usually do that, but just to tell them how much I enjoyed it and their presence in the documentary. They're great in the movie, but their presence in the documentary was incredible. And I know they were tight with Harold too, and they speak a lot about him in the movie. So I highly recommend watching Kids, and then if you can find the documentary When We Were Once Kids, take a look at it. Short little video. I don't know. Oh, there you go. Hillcrest Fir Avenue. Look for this sign and go straight up. That's how you're going to find Harold. We walked around for quite a long time. Wow. His story is so different because he started out with nothing and then kind of formed this little community around him. And people said they were drawn to him. Everybody was drawn to Harold Hunter. And then Larry Clark, the director of Kids, started hanging out with these group of skateboarders because he wanted to make a movie. And Harmony Korine wrote the movie. Very bizarre. You can see the hill from here, and how steep it is. Right there. So yeah, people said that they were just drawn to him. And shout out my friend Ryan, who's really into skateboarding still and was back then. He knew about Harold when I mentioned him. So big in the skateboarding world. And then I just remember when I was a kid, and when I was younger, I thought Harold was going to be a big star. I thought they all were. And then you watch this documentary and you see that it did not happen that way. These kids did not make a lot of money for the film. Larry Clark went on to make a lot of big films. Harmony Korine did as well. And once the stardom wore off from the movie Kids, it's kind of like, well, what now? Not much. Not much was left. Not much of the pie, so to speak. The fame pie. A lot of young people buried here. And a lot of newer burials on this side. He went to LA, like I said, and I think he thought fame was just going to follow and continue. Because he had a bit of fame going. It's on the cover of a magazine. He was in a major movie that was released across America. And, he's going to LA and starts partying and probably went on some auditions, but I don't know. And then he's so against drugs, and drugs is what took him in the end. By that last sentence, I'm not judging Harold. I'm not judging him at all for how he went out. Because, well, if you've seen my videos before, when it comes to alcoholism, drug addiction, it's sad and it can happen to anyone. And I just I have a lot of sympathy for people who suffer from addiction and who get pulled into that world. So I'm not judging Harold on that. I wish he was still here. And I know his friends and his family still do. And there's the Harold Hunter Foundation that you can look up to and probably donate to. I'll put a link below. This is my little video about Harold Hunter. I've been wanting to come to visit Harold for a long time now. Like I said, when I saw the movie, I was blown away by some of the performances. But Harold, really, I thought this guy, he was just popped on screen. And sadly, it didn't happen. I hope your brother's doing okay, Harold. I know your brother keeps your memory alive, and I believe he serves on the board of the Harold Hunter Foundation. Thanks for watching, everybody. Rest in peace, Justin Pierce as well, who's buried here. Not at this cemetery, north of here. I went to his grave last year. And rest in peace, Harold. Man. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. Peace. This was a tough one. 31 years old. And I don't know, something about... This is a tough one. He's so beloved for 90s culture and for skateboarders. People love this guy. And from what I've read, he just had it, and he was a nice, sweet guy. It's not right. Rest in peace, Harold. Peace out. I'm going to see if I can find it, if I don't get lost, but I passed a very interesting looking outdoor crypt. Let's see if we can find it. I want to show you it. wasn't difficult to find at all. It was actually just right on the way back. But look at all these beautiful outdoor crypts. They all look regular, right? With the big iron doors that we always all see, especially if you watch my channel, you've probably seen them. And then here, you know, there's a lot of them. I mean, this cemetery is huge. Here's one right here. The Lowe family. And then you have this one. That's interesting. I've never seen one like this before. Ritter. Glass doors. So it's inside was Gerald J. Ritter and May Ritter. And they both lived pretty long lives. Gerald and May side by side in a glass. What kind of glass is this? That it's got to be. That's pretty. It looks like double glass. But yeah, you don't see that too often. A glass crypt like that with a nice R on the back. See? Thought you want to see that because I've never seen that before. And after some of the graves I've seen recently, I thought I'd seen it all. Rest in peace, Gerald and May. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody.
16 and up.
It was a documentary.
Yeah. It's more real than that.
A lot.
And that said, you know what? I ought to be seeing more pictures at this level. This is, to call it a docudrama is too kind. It's more real than that.
A lot of the initial reactions to this film by people who just saw it at the 2 film festivals were interesting because they related to it as if somehow it was a documentary.
Yeah.
They didn't believe that those were actors and that was dialogue.